The idea of owning your own home has long been part of the American dream, and it doesn't end there. A growing number of people want a house that's good for people and for the planet.
4 Mainers have thought hard about how to make that hope a reality. 2 of them are architects, 1 a designer and 1 a building contractor. And together, they've written a book called Pretty Good House, a guide to creating better homes.
We talked with 2 of the authors to find out more about their vision and how to achieve it. The aim of this book is both lofty and practical. To help people design and build better houses. Houses that are comfortable and beautiful, but also healthier, more energy efficient, and more resilient. One way to achieve those goals is with smaller, simpler houses, which people are more likely to embrace if they think hard about how they actually use and don't use their home space.
Don't design it for that one day a year when you have everybody over for Thanksgiving dinner. Design it for 364 days a year on how you're going to use it and what you can afford to build. So that guest space that you build, if it adds $50,000 to your project, that's a lot of hotel room nights or rentals.
When you tell people you don't really need a guest room that you're going to use 2, 3, 4 nights a year, instead you could put up your friends and relatives in a nice hotel, do they listen to you?
Yeah, actually, really good design is talking through how people actually relate to their spaces. And you'd be surprised how many people say, yeah, you know what, maybe we don't need that.
What's interesting is that in recent decades in the U.S., houses have gotten bigger, even as the size of families has gotten smaller. One way to keep costs down in a house is to focus on 3 things: heating, cooling, and other energy use. It's just good building science, which the authors admit they're kind of obsessed with.
You write that building science, if you get into it, it kind of turns into an addiction, but you say, with luck, it'll be good for your house and good for the planet.
Yes, and I also say it's a good excuse never to sleep well again.
Let us be crass and talk about money. We all know what's happened to the price of houses in Maine. If I wanted to build a pretty good house in Cumberland County, what would be like the starting price tag for such a house? Let's not include land, say I've got the land, but just to design and build the house, right. What are we talking about?
Oh my God, I mean, a ridiculous amount of money, frankly. $500,000 to start. Beautiful.
That is a cold, inescapable fact caused in part by an acute shortage of construction workers. And it means that homeowners who want to come closer to having a pretty good house should consider renovating the home they're in, which would also be good for the planet.
What we try to encourage people to do when they're doing renovations is when something is at the end of life, then you improve that system. So if you have to take the siding off, maybe that's when you put some exterior insulation on. If everybody did a small renovation, that would have a bigger impact than if 10 people or 100 people did extensive deep energy retrofits.
Do you guys get a little discouraged thinking about how slow the pace of change is going to be just because people live in the houses that are already here, and the building of new houses is a really incremental process?
I get more discouraged. I mean, I get discouraged by a lot of things, but I am more concerned about just the huge shortage of housing that we have, and what are we going to do about it? I mean, we need, we really need to be investing in high quality multi-family housing. It's just the only way we're going to get out of this mess.
What kind of a response have you gotten from readers?
Well, we know from other people that like architects and contractors are buying multiple copies to sort of hand to their client when they get started in projects. Like, hey, read this book, it'll give you a sense of what we're trying to accomplish.
We've had a lot of great response that the book was very easy to dig into. I've had people who have read it cover to cover in one night, which I thought was pretty impressive. You don't hear that about building science books.
20 years from now, if you go out for a drive in Maine, spend 2 hours going around the state, and look at houses that have been built in the previous 20 years, in other words, the 20 years from now, what do you hope you'll see?
As a building scientist, I want to go around the neighborhoods and not see a single icicle hanging off the roof. That would make me really happy.
Because that's a sign of serious heating loss, right?
That's a sign of serious heating loss and damage to your building, really, overall.
Dan?
And someone who did not get the building science right.
Dan, what would you hope to see?
I would be thrilled to see small, simple houses going up. I joke in the book that that the ideal pretty good house is what a kindergartner would draw if you gave them a crayon and a piece of paper. So I would be thrilled to see that.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. It's so simple, a kindergartner could do it. Dan Colbert says the Pretty Good House is as much of a why-to book as a how-to book. There's obviously a lot in there that we could not get into. So if you're interested in the topic, check out the book.
You'll find more information in the 207 section of our website and our app. And by the way, there may be a sequel. The authors are thinking about writing another book that would follow the same principles but be more focused on renovating rather than building. Gives you a lot to think about.